Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, 12 rounds in the heavyweight division. Let's get into it. I'm not in my usual space, sitting on the couch, so we just gonna talk this one through as we usually do. Let's start with their respective records. AJ, 28 wins, 3 losses, 25 wins by way of knockout. Daniel Dubois, 21 wins, 2 losses, and 20 wins by way of knockout. This is a big fight over in the UK, man, and I think it's a solid fight for where the heavyweight division is right now. AJ is probably going to be the favorite, as he should be. AJ is a big draw, right? Regardless if he wins or he loses, people are going to come out to see AJ. Very likable guy, has all the great qualities, all that good stuff. AJ is going to be the favorite. And he kind of caught a second win, so to speak, after his back-to-back losses against Alexander Usyk. He's on a 4-fight win streak. 3 of those 4-fight win streaks, he's won by way of stoppage. So the connection with Ben Davidson has seemed to be working in his favor and has him looking like the old AJ, the letting his hands go and punching in combinations AJ, and not the hesitant and somewhat tentative AJ that we've seen in previous fights before. You know, AJ is always a physical presence, man. He's a big figure, right? And anytime AJ chooses to impose that figure and impose his strength, and he's in his groove and he's in his rhythm, I personally believe that he can knock out anybody, any heavyweight from any generation. Personally, in my opinion, he's a heavy-handed fighter, heavy-handed guy, power in both hands, but the combinations are his strengths, and he seems to have that back from what we've seen in the previous fights so far. Daniel Dubois, man. Hey, man, shout out to Daniel Dubois, man. I mean, for how he responded and put himself back after his loss to Joe Joyce. He survived the shaky fight against Kevin Lerena, and he had a few good punches against Alexander Usyk and a controversial body shot, low blow type of deal before getting stopped by what looked like a straight jab to the face. I feel like in every Daniel Dubois breakdown, man, I say it all the time. Like, when you look at Daniel Dubois as a trainer, as a coach, you're like, man, this guy has the goods. This is what you want. This guy can do it all. This guy is a machine. I'd love to train him. And so for me, you know, it's never been a physical thing about Daniel Dubois. It's always been about here and in here. His heart and his will have been in questions. Maybe not for you, but for me personally. And I like Daniel Dubois. But every time that I've went against Daniel Dubois in his previous 2 fights, he's came out on top. And he's proved that, man, I belong to be amongst the top of the competition, as he does. I personally think his heart and will have been on full display in his previous 2 fights. Against Jarrell Miller, you know, it seemed like after that win, it gave him like a newfound confidence and internal belief, man. He celebrated that win like he won an Olympic gold medal, right? Or he became undisputed champion in the division. Like, it meant a lot to him, but it was a mental victory for him that elevated him personally, in my opinion, to a very more confident fight. In his fight against Filip Hrgović, that heart and that will was on full display already. We know Daniel Dubois can punch. We know he's got power in both hands. They call him Dynamite for a reason, man. He's an explosive fighter, athletic fighter. Offensively, he has a lot of skills and tools to work with. He can put together almost any shot, any type of way when he gets going and he's, you know, in his groove and he's feeling good. But against Hrgović, man, he kept getting clipped with the same simple shot, same simple combination. 1, 2, right? 1, 2. He kept getting clipped with that and it was landing. You know who else put together a similar shot like that, but will have more force and power behind it and it'll be a little bit more accurate? Anthony Joshua. He puts that same combination together very well, and I think he'll do it a lot better than Filip Hrgović. And that's partially because Daniel Dubois doesn't always do the greatest job of moving his head off of the line, so he tends to get hit a lot. But to his credit, man, against Hrgović, he took those shots extremely well, man, I could not believe the type of chin that Daniel Dubois had in that fight. I don't know where he got that from. I looked on Amazon, I looked on eBay. They didn't have those type of chins for sale. So I don't know what Daniel Dubois did to kind of resurrect that chin. But he took those shots extremely well. And even though he bent a little bit, right, he wavered a little bit, his legs never fully folded. And he always came back and let his hands go to really steal some of that momentum after it looked like he was about to get dropped and it was about to be over with. And personally, I don't think Hrgović expected him to be standing after all those shots that landed on him. And because of that, man, I think Hrgović punched himself out. And once he got tired, that's when Daniel Dubois' heavy hands and shots started to connect a little bit more. And as Hrgović was tired, Dubois just kept piling it on. Even though he was getting clipped, even though his defense was not the greatest, he was still coming forward despite getting hit, and he still continued to let his hands go and took advantage of a tired fighter, and he got the knockout win. Probably the biggest win of his career, if not one of the biggest wins of his career. And I thought offensively, he looked pretty good doing it. Defensively, there's some questions there, but the heart and the will, I no longer question that of Daniel Dubois, because I believe his recent 2 fights, he has shown that, man, I am strong-willed. I do have a big heart. I can win any fight that I go into, and he believes it up here. He believes it up here, and he's definitely got the offensive weaponry to be able to make that statement a reality. So it was a test that he had, and he passed it. AJ, is coming off of, I'm not going to say the biggest fight of his career, more of a business performance. One thing I always like about AJ, and I've always said about AJ, man, is, he's going to come into the fights and he's not going to be playing around. He takes his training very seriously. He takes his preparation very seriously. He takes it with the utmost severity. And you have to appreciate that in a fighter. Right? Tyson Fury came in and played with Francis Ngannou, right? Tyson Fury didn't seem like he trained longer than probably 3 weeks to face Francis Ngannou, and he got himself in trouble. And I like Francis Ngannou, man. I've been following his career in MMA for a long time now. He's made a massive name for himself in MMA, and he's a massive human being. So that's a big man. Right? And he's a dangerous opponent, but he should not get into the boxing ring and be the same monster as he is in the octagon, because in MMA, there's so many things that you have to work on throughout your camp. And in boxing, you're solo focused. So a pure boxer should be able to handle someone who has to be good at like 7 different things. And AJ showed you're not just going to come into this ring and get busy on me how I got busy on Tyson Fury, right? AJ came in ready, prepared, extremely focused, dialed in, locked in, dropped him, and then took him out in 2 rounds. So we know AJ is going to come prepared. This is nothing new. I like heavyweight fights, man, regardless of who it is, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this one unfolds. So who wins? Before I give my pick on this fight, I have something real quick to share. I'm always looking to bring more light, more value, more opportunities for the community. I've been working on a few different things in recent weeks to not just grow the channel, but as I said, to continue to provide as much value as I can to each of you in our community. With that being said, I got some exciting news to share. I'm happy to announce my partnership with BetStamp and signup Expert. It's a great opportunity for you to join some of the best sports books to get the best odds and new user offer. All you have to do is head over to my dedicated page at signupexpert.com/thebreakdown to explore a selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with its own unique offerings. So if you want to place a bet this weekend and on this fight and beyond, check out the link to find the best options for you in your region. Every sign up does support the channel, and it helps the channel grow and to expand and to create more opportunities, not just for me, but for our community. I'm always looking out for you guys as best as I can. You can easily find the link in the description below this videos and videos moving forward. So get down there and check it out and find the best option for you. Now, let's get back to the video. I think Daniel Dubois is one of the best heavyweights in the division today. I mean, you know, it seems like he's been through a lot, and we've been hearing about Daniel Dubois for years, decades, it even seems like sometimes, but he's only 27 years old. So, you know, he is one of the best in the division. But I personally think, in my humble opinion, man, I think AJ does everything better than Daniel Dubois. I think he's a bigger puncher. He's better technique. He moves better. I think he's more accurate. It's obviously heavyweight boxing, so anything can happen. We know that one shot can change the trajectory of the fight. But in my humble opinion, if there was a checklist of everything comparison between these two, I think AJ would have way more check than Daniel Dubois. Both times Daniel Dubois lost, he's been stopped. But he took a whole lot of punches from Hrgović, and though he took those punches well, he did not go down. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a stoppage win for either guy here. Both men have lost by stoppage. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight goes the distance either. Fights like this do sometimes have a tendency to go the full 12 rounds. But I like Anthony Joshua to win this fight by late stoppage, man. I think offensively, Dubois, a heck of a fighter offensively, and the weaponry that he possesses in his tool set. But he doesn't seem to want to move his head off of the line. And if he gets clipped as much as he got clipped against Filip Hrgović, man, I just don't think he can take too much of those shots from a guy who is bigger, stronger, and a more heavy-handed fighter. AJ will make him pay for that. But Daniel Dubois has a great shot of winning this fight. He's confident. He looks ready. So we'll definitely see how it goes, man. Anything can happen in boxing, especially in heavyweight boxing. But I like Anthony Joshua by late stoppage. So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear from you. How do you think this one goes? Who do you have winning? Let me know in the comment section below. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel before you go. And we'll definitely see you next time.